Good afternoon, and welcome to the City of Vaughan Menorah Lighting Ceremony in celebration of Chanukah, also known as the Festival of Lights. My name is Anna Dara, Recreation Manager of Events and Theater Operations. Thank you for joining us today. This virtual event is coming to you live from the courtyard at Vaughan City Hall and will feature a welcome by the Mayor and members of Council, a lighting ceremony presided over by Rabbi Kaplan, and a performance from members of the Shmuel Sahavi Heder Chabad Boys Choir. At this time, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome His Worship, the Honorable Maurizio Bevilacqua, Mayor of the City of Vaughan, to extend greetings.
Thank you, everyone, and good evening. It's really a pleasure to participate in the Menorah Lighting ceremony. It is something that we do every year. I know that each and every member of council that is present, Deputy Mayor Mario Ferri, Regional Councilor Rosati, as well as Regional Councilor Linda Jackson and Councilor Iafredi and Councilor Carella, Councilor De Francesca, Councilor Rocco, and Councilor Sheffman are all here because they do believe that the power of light can in fact erase darkness. This is a moment in time where, as members of council, we pause, we reflect, we contemplate, we meditate on the meaning of the miracle of Hanukkah. And it is moments like this that really uplift the spiritual essence of our city. It is very important during these times to really gather our thoughts and prayers, to reflect upon the significance of what gives purpose to our life within the context of Hanukkah. Because it is important not to fail in this regard. It is important to really gather that inner strength and energy and put it towards causes that speak to improving the human condition. And what is life truly all about? What is the purpose of life? And the purpose of life is found in improving the human condition. When people gather together in a spirit of common purpose, of pursuing common purpose, of pooling the resources together to bring about that positive change, we are all the better as citizens of the world. Here in the city of Vaughan, we are exceptionally fortunate to have spiritual leadership that embodies all that is wonderful and beautiful about humanity. And by that, I mean the higher frequencies of love, compassion, understanding, and nurturing spirit. The essence of our city is one that is rooted in hope and optimism. We believe that tomorrow can indeed be better than today, and that we fundamentally have the responsibility to make it so. And that is really also what Hanukkah is about. Hanukkah tells us that the miracle of light, and we all know what the Hanukkah miracle was all about. And as we reflect upon it, we find inspiration, we find strength, and we also find unity in cause, which to me is the definition of what humanity at the end of the day should aspire to. And as long as we are driven by what is good, as long as we are driven by what brings light onto the world, then we will be doing what we were put on earth to do. And that is to help each other, to love each other, to understand each other, and to bring fresh hope and optimism within ourselves and within the larger community. It is moments like this that capture the essence of what life is about. And I was talking about earlier about spiritual leadership, and there's a man in this community that I think embodies all that I've just stated. he's a man that has really given of himself to a cause that is noble, a cause that speaks to those higher frequencies. His name is Rabbi Kaplan. I've known Rabbi Kaplan for many, many years. I had the good fortune of being invited by him to go to New York to see the Rebbe's resting place. And Rabbi, you know, that story is making the rounds in the city. Every menorah lighting I've been at, people have been asking me about my trip with you. And I love sharing that story because I think that we as human beings would do so much better if we were able to tap the energies of the Rebbe. I did that as a 13-year-old, and I still do it as a 61-year-old. And I want to thank you for your very kind invitation. It was a day that I will never forget. And beyond that trip, obviously, I want to thank you for really being a leader. You know, in times that we are going through now, where everybody's challenged, where everybody's looking for answers to some very fundamental questions about the essence of life, we are so fortunate. I think I speak on behalf of every single member of council when I say this, Rabbi, that we really believe that you're an exceptional leader, and leaders like you, particularly when we face adversity, are needed. And so I know you've dedicated your life towards really spiritually awakening people, and I follow you on Facebook, and I know how the 400,000 people that follow you on Facebook feel about you. And the reason why they keep tuning in is because your message is one of hope, and that is what we need today. And for that, we are forever indebted to you. And it is my pleasure to welcome Rabbi Kaplan.
Thank you, my dear friend, Worship Mayor Bevilacqua. I hope my mother's watching because she's the only one who's going to believe anything you just said. But you are right that we are both inspired by the Rebbe and the Rebbe's incredible vision. I want to take a moment as a rabbi to clarify for our many viewers what Chanukah is really about and why we're standing together in the snow. And thank you, members of council. I know this is not fun. I'll try to make it quick. It only looks like fun. There are many people who make the mistake of thinking that Chanukah is about a military victory, that it's about perhaps violence that was necessary, that it's about self-determination, it's about brawn and strength and heroism, and they could not be further from the truth. And the evidence is right in front of us. The essence of Chanukah is not celebrated by remembering wars, but a menorah. When my ancestors came into the temple nearly 22 centuries ago, they wanted to kindle the menorah because the menorah is a symbol and a beacon of light and spirituality, of love, compassion, and God consciousness. And that's what they were looking for. The menorah was symbolic of all that is good and can dispel the darkness of hatred, acrimony, injustice, selfishness, fascism. The menorah is that which can illuminate our path and guide us towards righteousness, a life of mission, meaning, and purpose, and closeness to our Creator. And the menorah, ideally, is supposed to be lit with oil that is ritually pure. There were lots of oil in the Holy Temple. Oil was a big commodity in those days. There was a lot of oil. We hear all about the oil. But all the oil they found was ritually defiled, and it's so important for me to point out that ritually defiled oil and regular oil does not look any different. It looks exactly the same. It's a spiritual concept. It's not a physical thing. It's not about any kind of material contamination. And the menorah could have been lit, and the menorah could have burnt, And we didn't need any miracles. And the menorah didn't have to have one little jug of oil that miraculously burned for 8 days. But this is the point. The Maccabees, or Hasmoneans as they were called, said, we fought not for self-determination. This was not about nationalism. This was a battle for spiritual freedom. This was a battle for the aspiration of the soul. And if we kindle the menorah with oil that is not pure, we have won the battles and lost the war. In 1979, the Rebbe was speaking to a group of school children. And he said to the children, you must internalize the message of Chanukah. And its message, he said, is this: that when a person resolves with all his heart and all his mind and all his strength to do what is good and what is right, then God makes miracles happen. The miracles that we saw in those days at this time were the miracles that were brought about through conviction, through courage, and through spiritual strength and faith. When we make the statement that we are prepared to fight for the things that are worth fighting for, not because we want to fight, but because our values cannot be compromised and our values must be maintained even in the face of adversity, then God is gracious to us. And if all we have is a little bit of oil, if all we're left with is just a modicum of strength, God's promise to us is that the oil will continue to burn and we will have the strength, we will have the fortitude, we will have the ability to continue to illuminate and dent the darkness. And we will always prevail. And this is a message that's not only for Jewish people. And that's why the menorah is in a public thoroughfare. Because God created each and every single human being in His image. And God loves each of us. And God expects great things from each of us. God placed us in our world because we have a purpose to fulfill. And if we live with faith, and if we live with spiritual courage, and we live with sensitivity, and we live with a sense of devotion to others and to our common Creator, we will always have the strength. We will always be able to triumph. Because in the end, we believe not in the spirit of force, but in the force of spirit. And that's what unites us on Chanukah. I want to thank all of our viewers for joining us online. And I want to end with a prayer. Dear God, please keep sending us snow, but take away the COVID. Give us all good health. Give us all economic prosperity. Bless this great city, in this great province, in this great country, that we should know of good things and we should be able to share happy times together. And that speedily and in our days, we should see the fulfillment of the prophets. A world in which weapons will be beaten into plowshares. A world in which all of humanity will be able to walk a common road and dance towards the house of the Almighty, where the menorah will radiate once again, filling the world with holiness, with happiness, with goodness, and God consciousness. As we say in Hebrew, bimheira b'yameinu, speedily and in our days. Amen. Happy Chanukah. And now we're ready to light the menorah. I got the things. It's a little challenging, but I think we're going to have to take the glass off. It looks out there, just so you know. I hope this didn't just die. think we need a little Chanukah miracle here. Let's see if we can make this work. Ah. One second, that's just now comes the real deal. Okay, boys, my son Levi and his friend Meni are going to lead us in the blessings for the menorah, and then I'm going to fire it up for us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Chanukah.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sheyasa nisim lavoseinu bayamim hahem bizman hazeh.
Amen. That's one. All right. All right, kids. Huh? You think? The music is going to start and the kids are going to sing.
Ala nisim v'yala porkon v'yala grudas v'yala juas v'yala niflos shel sisalam v'seinu bayamim moim b'zman hazeh.
Ala nisim v'yala porkon v'yala grudas
v'yala juas
V'yala niflos
shel sisalam v'seinu
bayamim moim b'zman hazeh.
Ala nisim v'yala porkon v'yala grudas v'yala juas v'yala niflos shel sisalam v'seinu bayamim moim b'zman hazeh. Ala nisim v'yala porkon v'yala grudas v'yala juas v'yala niflos shel sisalam v'seinu bayamim moim b'zman hazeh. Ala nisim v'yala porkon
v'yala grudas
v'yala juas v'yala niflos shel sisalam v'seinu bayamim moim b'zman hazeh. Ala nisim v'yala porkon v'yala grudas v'yala juas v'yala niflos shel sisalam v'seinu bayamim moim b'zman hazeh. Ala nisim v'yala porkon v'yala grudas v'yala juas v'yala niflos shel sisalam v'seinu bayamim moim b'zman hazeh. Ala nisim v'yala porkon v'yala grudas v'yala juas v'yala niflos shel sisalam v'seinu bayamim moim b'zman hazeh. Ala nisim v'yala porkon v'yala grudas v'yala juas v'yala niflos shel sisalam v'seinu bayamim moim b'zman hazeh. Ala nisim v'yala porkon v'yala grudas v'yala juas v'yala niflos shel sisalam v'seinu bayamim moim b'zman hazeh.
Excellent, guys. appreciate it.
Oh Chanukah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather around the table, let's have a treat. Dreidels to play with and latkes to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning bright. One for each night they shed as we light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night they shed as we light to remind us of days long ago. Oh Chanukah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather around the table, let's have a treat. Dreidels to play with and latkes to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning bright. One for each night they shed as we light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night they shed as we light to remind us of days long ago. Oh Chanukah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather around the table, let's have a treat. Dreidels to play with and latkes to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning bright. One for each night they shed as we light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night they shed as we light to remind us of days long ago.
Amazing. Excellent, guys. Excellent.
Thank you, Rabbi Kaplan and the Shmuel Sahavi Heder Chabad Boys Choir for a beautiful ceremony and performance. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this concludes the formal ceremony. On behalf of the mayor and members of council and the city of Vaughan, thank you again for joining us this afternoon, and all the best for a safe and bright holiday season. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you. Happy Hanukkah.